Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I welcome you to the program The Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as a teacher. Now, one of the teaching strategies that we learn from the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is using diagrams to illustrate a concept. Now, what happens? Sometimes we have certain concepts, and we feel that if we use any sort of drawing or any sort of element that can help support comprehension, so we use illustrations or drawings. Now, what happens? Sometimes there might be concepts that can be explained well using diagrams or the things that support comprehension. So a companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he narrated, "Khatta lana Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." He said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, once he drew a straight line for us, and then he drew lines to the right and then lines to the left. And after that, he recited a verse of the Holy Quran. "This is my straight path. Follow it and do not follow other paths which will deviate you from the path of Allah Almighty." So the Prophet ﷺ explained to the companions that besides the straight line, other lines were the lines that were leading to the way of Satan. So what do we learn from this example? We learn that sometimes when it is required, we should try to support our explanation with something like diagrams. We can draw something and try to help our students learn with that drawing also. We learn from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we should not stick to just using a single mode of instruction. We should try to use different modes of instruction, different in today's term we can say different pedagogical approaches, so that our teaching may become effective. So what we see and observe in today's classroom, that there might be some teachers who just stick to a lecture method. There are some teachers who just stick to any other specific teaching method. So what we learn in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used different ways and different strategies were there. Sometimes he used metaphors. Sometimes we see that he used similes to help his companions understand the thing that he were explaining to them. And sometimes he used hand gestures. So these different teaching strategies tell us that the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was showing us a diversity of teaching methods. As we learn that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once drew a line to help his companions understand a specific thing. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained to the companions that you must follow the straight path, and that path is of Allah Almighty, and that is the path that is preached by the prophets. And all the prophets, even before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who came to the world and were sent to people by Allah Almighty, they preach the message of truth to the people, and they all guided people to the straight path. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also preached the same core thing, that is called inviting people to the way of Allah Almighty. So as all the previous prophets and messengers were sent to the people by Allah Almighty, so at that time all those people were supposed to accept that message. It was necessary, and it was must for people to accept that message. Similarly, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to the world and he preached the message of Islam, so that was the only way, and that is the only way that is the way of truth, that is the way that leads you to Allah Almighty. So we learn in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we as teachers should try to blend different teaching methods, keeping in view the situation of our classroom and keeping in view the mentality of our students.